the global COVID-19 death toll has risen to 3,02,115 and over 44.38 lakh people infected with coronavirus across the world. The COVID-19 death toll has reached 85,884 in the United States of America, over 1.41 million people infected in US. Coronavirus has claimed 33,693 lives in UK. In Italy, the death toll has climbed to 31,368. Let's go across to my colleague Ashish Parekh, who joins us live from the newsroom with more inputs on it. Well, Ashish, a very good morning to you first of all. Now, there seems to be no respite in the United States of America, but President Trump busy trading barbs at others. What more do we have with us over the rising number of cases?
Well, absolutely, Neha. Like you rightly said, on one hand, you have the rising number of cases. On the other hand, you have some global leaders clearly in denial. For example, you have Donald Trump from the United States, and also to an extent the Brazilian president, who is pretty much in a denial mode and is not really taking the situation seriously. But coming back to the US, of course, we are seeing the number of cases in the US constantly rising, and though there is no steep rise like we have been seeing over the past few weeks, prompting a lot of suggestions that probably the peak is now over in the United States, the fact that the cases are continuing to rise is something that needs to be kept in check. And also the fact that this pandemic is something that you cannot really get away with until there is a vaccine is something that the leaders need to recognize, and also make sure that while they are easing the lockdowns, while they are making sure that the economy is back on track, they also need to make sure that people are not sacrificed for the sake of it. And that is something that all of these leaders need to understand. And of course, we've been talking about the stimulus package in the United States as well. A lot of people, according to a poll, in fact, which was recently conducted, most of the people think that this stimulus package that will be coming up in the US will benefit more big companies than the general public. And also the poll, one of the polls that has now been doing the rounds and is under discussion over there in the United States, the poll clearly says that most of the responders have believed the fact that Trump is taking actions which are beneficial for big companies and himself, rather than thinking about the general people, and that is what the majority of people have to see. So clearly, the public voting also, the situation in the eye of the public also clearly not in support of Donald Trump, who is clearly making sure that he somehow finds a way through this entire pandemic and make sure that the economy is back on track and companies again start to function. Moving on to a lot of other countries, they too are now looking at ways to ease the lockdowns while the number of cases continue to rise. We've been looking at Russia, which has suddenly seen a massive spike in the number of cases. There, President Putin clearly went on to say that, of course, the number of cases are rising, but also at the same time, the lockdowns need to be eased. And all of these also prompted the WHO to come out and say that, all of these countries need to make sure that they take proper precautions while easing the lockdowns, because it is very much likely that while they are focusing on easing lockdowns, the virus may come back with a stronger second wave. And that is something that all of these countries need to be wary of, because already the first wave has caused a damage that will take some time to repair, and the pandemic is continuing. A second wave, while easing lockdowns, could be detrimental to all of these efforts, and in fact could be more deadlier. And that is the fact that all of these countries that are planning to ease lockdown need to remember. And also India too is now slowly easing lockdowns in a staggered manner, planning to make sure that most of the sectors somehow start running over a period of time. And if all this is happening while the number of cases in India are continuing to rise, though there is not a steep rise like in a lot of countries, the fact that there are cases being reported on a daily basis, and it is in thousands, is something that needs to be remembered. And the government also needs to make sure that while they are making sure that the country is economically strong to handle this pandemic, the human lives are also not compromised for the sake of making sure that the economy is back on track.